girlfriend. Who's here? Let's see what we can get you in there. It's Percy. All right, we're gonna wait for folks to log on, my dear, and then we'll talk about how fabulous you are. Sound like a plan? Ooh, and we get to share some pretty exciting stuff with you folks. Hi everyone, we see you logging on, and let us know where you're tuning in from. We would love to say hi. And Percy, our spotted turtle, let me see if I can turn the light on him a little bit, is our ambassador today for morning meeting. You're also going to get a double dose of Percy because our friends from Maine Beer Company are coming down in a little bit to unveil Prince Percy, which is one of their new beers. Here, hold on. Hi, Charlie in South Portland. Prince Percy, it's a Pilsner. Hi from Tilly. Hi, Tilly. Welcome, welcome. And we're super excited because we are big fans of Maine Beer Company, not only as business partners, but also as human beings and business models, I guess you could say. They do definitely walk their talk. They do what's right. They support their community. And they just make the world a better place. So we're super pumped to be involved with them and be partnering with them as far as getting outreach out. They have helped us incredibly. They have paid for the solar on our new facility, which we'll see a little bit later on today. And they're, like I said, just absolutely wonderful, wonderful folks. Xander from Plymouth. Hi, Xander. Good to see you again. Hi, Elaine in South Portland. And hi, Zoe. Good morning. So this is Percy. His full name is Perseus. He is a spotted turtle. As you can see, he's rather handsome. Let me see if I can get him right up there. Who's that? Do you see yourself? You'll often see him in the background if I'm doing a Facebook Live in here. He likes to be involved in whatever's going on. These guys are near and dear to my heart. They're just wonderful, wonderful turtles. And they really have really lovely personalities, don't you? They're very mellow. They're very relaxed. And they're just kind and lovely little animals. A really fun fact about these guys is that males are black and have like a tan chin and kind of yellowish eyes. Females have yellowish chins and orange eyes. The trick with these guys, and especially with Percy right here, is that, hi Nevitz, how are you? He was raised in captivity. Anytime anything is bred or raised in captivity, you're changing and altering things that need to take place, perhaps, that cause them to have certain characteristics. Red-eyed tree frogs, for instance, have they don't generally have red eyes when they're in captivity. We can't mimic. Where are you going? Do you know it's breakfast time? I know. Hi, Caitlin. Nice to see you. Percy says hello. Oh, you're showing off that beautiful orange. So you see that beautiful orange coloration on him. And again, spotted turtles, because they're spotted, are wonderful. These guys, just like zebras have all different stripes, giraffes have different patterns. These guys all have different, these are called constellations on their back, which is why his name is Perseus. We named him after the constellation Perseus, the Greek hero. And so what's really cool is that some biologists and naturalists who can go out into the field remember what these constellations are on individual turtles. And that way, when they see that turtle again, like the fluke on a whale, you can tell what the difference is. They know that turtle because they know the constellation. It's kind of cool to think that that is all nature. I mean, if you look at this, you go, that's not going to blend in. But the spots are actually very much like the dapples or the spots on the water when the sun shines off of it. So if this guy goes in the water, he disappears under the water super, super quick. They're found, let's see, I think all the way from Michigan to Maine, and down across the eastern seaboard to Florida, but they're definitely facing a hard time. These guys used to be really prolific, and they were, all around. They were very, very popular and common. And then what's happening is their main threat, besides people taking them from the wild or, illegally for the pet trade, is that the habitat fragmentation and also the habitat development. So once that habitat is gone, these guys go back to their ancestral breeding grounds to lay eggs. If that ancestral breeding ground is paved over, they can't lay their eggs there anymore. Add into that fact that we are, constantly dissecting their habitats with our roads and things like that. These guys, it takes them, I know, it's almost breakfast, you can smell it. I know. It takes them 10 years to reach sexual maturity. So they have to reach, I meant to grab a dime. Or not a dime, a quarter. So the inside of that tape, or about the size of a quarter, maybe even a nickel, is about the size of the babies when they hatch out. Good morning, Beth and Evan. Thank you for tuning in. So imagine having to dig out from underneath the ground at the size of a nickel or a quarter. Then you have to make it from that area to your wetland or water without being eaten by just about everybody out there. Crows, ravens, you name it. These are like little nutrient nuggets, basically. Everything eats them. And then you have to survive for another 10 years before you can even breed. And then in addition to that, so some of our snapping turtles can lay upwards 50, 60, 70 eggs, depending. These guys only lay 3 to 5 eggs. The other thing is that these guys, if you look at these little back legs, they don't have, hi Chuck in Rhode Island, welcome. They don't have really long legs. So when they're digging that hole, it is susceptible to being raided by raccoons, crows, things like that. It can also be dug up inadvertently by people with lawnmowers, or who are, four-wheeling through the woods, or, whatever else. These guys are, like I said, really gentle and really amazing. Hi, Christopher, how are you? And it's really sad that the main thing that threatens them are humans. Between road mortality, we're really coming into that season right now. If these guys get hit by cars, I know, it's true, Caitlin. It just means he's like, Caitlin said, earmuffs, Percy, you're not a nutrient nugget. You're just a superstar. Sage wants to know why he's so small. So these guys are actually pretty small. He's only 4. He's going to be 5 this year, I believe. But he's almost full grown. He's not going to get much bigger. And that is both to their detriment as well as to their benefit. So they're nice and small. They can like zip around, maybe be avoided, as opposed to like huge snapping turtles. Oh, Sarah, you have 2 snapping turtles that come every year to lay eggs. They're absolutely amazing, and they go into this egg trance, and the babies are hatching right now. We've had 2 babies admitted in the last few days. There's no such thing as an orphaned turtle. Say it with me, folks. No such thing as an orphaned turtle, because they never meet their parents, right? So mom goes and lays her eggs at our ancestral breeding ground, leaves them there, buries them back up, goes back out to the water. They never ever meet their moms. They never meet their dads. They're completely on their own. You could call it precocial. I wouldn't even call it precocial, because there's no parenting involved. So it's kind of amazing, and folks will find them. You guys will find them in your pools, unfortunately, sometimes. You can get a thing called a frog log. That's the patented term, I guess you could say, that helps animals get out of the pool. You can also put a board into your pool, and that way things can crawl out as well. Sometimes, we had one come in, I believe yesterday, from someone's pool, and so when they start hatching out and they start going, they're just going. They're so focused on going where they're going that they don't understand if, like even if a wall is in the way, they'll kind of just run their head into it. So what they're trying to do is get back to that water that their parents are probably in somewhere along the way, even though they'll never meet each other, which is kind of amazing. So Mr. Percy came to us from Connecticut. We had been looking for, are you ready? I know we're going to do breakfast in just a minute. We had been looking for another spotted turtle ambassador. We had Bud for, I think, over 30 years. And he was absolutely lovely. You can see these. I don't know if you can see these little beautiful brown eyes. How can I get you in focus and not me? Can I do it? There we go, ish, kind of. But he's just an absolute love. And we had been contacted by someone. He had been confiscated or given up by someone who had decided that they wanted to breed them. And so unfortunately what happens is if you breed turtles, you unless you do it in a really, I guess, scientific way. Like we have lots of folks that do Head Start programs and things like that, but it's a pretty complex protocol and everything like that. So you don't want to just dig up turtle eggs and hatch them out. That's not the way it works. They go back, they have a better GPS in their head than we do in our phones. So it's really important. If you see, like New England Wildlife Center, for instance, has an absolutely amazing Head Start program for turtles, and it helps them, you know, get out into the wild and not be predated upon in their nests. But again, very scientific, lots of protocols and things like that. Percy was not in a scientific protocol area or in a breeding program. And so we were contacted by a rescuer or by someone who does rehab down there, excellent turtle rehab, and said, you know, we're looking for a home for him. Would you like to come look at him? We took one look at him and said, absolutely. And now he lives with us, which we are super, super excited for. Well, let's see, Carol. Oh, in Portland, wonderful. Yes, you're talking about wildlife tunnels and road crossings. I'm trying to get the more... Sometimes my phone doesn't let me read the rest of the questions, sorry. So wildlife tunnels and road crossings are really important, especially right now during these guys' migration periods and when they go to lay their eggs. The tricky part about a wildlife tunnel and a crossing is that predators pretty quickly figure out that it's like a food chute. And so you have to make it wide enough and big enough that these guys can get through and it works. There's, you know, 2 steps forward, 1 step back type of thing. But if folks get involved on the state level and on a civic level, as far as voting and going to town meetings and things like that, when it comes to development, you can certainly get involved and help these guys, because you can get turtle signs, turtle crossing signs put up and all of those things. Let's see. Oh, hi, Mary from New York. Welcome from upstate New York. We need wildlife tunnels for deer as well. So it's interesting. The tunnels, I've heard that the deer don't really like the tunnels because they're enclosed and they're a prey animal. Out west, I've seen them with the overpasses, and those seem to work better. But again, you have to make sure that it's wide enough so that it's not just a food chute where, you know, predators just sit at the end and wait. It's like a vending machine type of thing. All right, Percy has been very patient, and I am going to go ahead and start him for his breakfast, so you guys will be able to watch him have his breakfast. If you are able to donate, we do have a donation button at the bottom, and that would be absolutely awesome. I'm going to flip this camera around so that you guys are able to watch Mr. Man have breakfast here. I'm going to put you in, Perce. All right. And then we'll do a little breakfast. Here you go, handsome. Oh, I want to get all your proteins out. Percy is a little bit of a protein guy. He's a junk food junkie. Oh, let me do it from the top because that will be better. Let's see. That was his tank in the background. Yes, behind me. Good job, Brendan. Nice paying attention. So we don't feed him in his tank because, as you can see, this water gets a little funky. These guys can make quite a bit of a mess when they're eating, so we try and keep his tank just as clean as we can. We actually need to get some leaves in there because these guys like tannins, high tannin counts in their water. So right now what we're doing is just feeding him in a separate container. He's eating his pellets, which is really important for him to eat, although it's sort of like processed food for him, so a little, you know, it gets all of his nutrients. Oh, are we going to eat greens? Oh, I was going to be shocked, Percy. Percy does not like to eat his vegetables. Silly boy. So right now he's looking for all the pellets. Oh, you got lettuce by accident. Let's see. And then he does have, I believe, a couple little chunks of krill and things like that in there for his protein today. It's really important. Let me see if I can get him. Yeah, see how funky that water is? But it's kind of fun to watch him eat. Oh, little Percy, you're so cute. I'm trying to get you guys a good angle of him eating. Well, maybe that one will work. Ryan, can Percy eat outside of the water? He can, but he prefers, these guys are semi-aquatic, so they're not like painted turtles. They're not aquatic per se, meaning that they really live in a pond like all the time. These guys will move back and forth from different swamps and bogs and ditches and shallow bodies of water, vernal pools, and that sort of thing. So these guys are out of the water a bit, but they definitely prefer to eat in the water. We always feed him in the water, just because you can see him cooking around and having fun. It's kind of a fun turtle breakfast time. Peter, is it true that most Maine turtles live in the same 1 square mile territory most of their life? So they live, I don't know the exact mileage, and I do believe that it depends upon the species of turtle. I know that, for instance, wood turtles, I'm watching you, wood turtles tend to move quite a bit, and they're actually doing studies monitoring them up at Unity College, which is pretty exciting. But yeah, they have their own habitat. They are, like I said, they have a better GPS in their head than any of our cell phones. They know exactly where they're going. They go back and lay their eggs, like I said, at their ancestral breeding grounds and nesting grounds, which is incredible. But it's also, unfortunately, to their detriment, because if we destroy their habitat, then unfortunately there's no place for them to be. Sort of like the panda in China, if you will. So they've saved it from becoming extinct, but they don't really have habitat for it to be released into. Percy, everyone's watching you not eat your greens. Silly boy. So when we, I know I just posted about needing freeze-dried krill, freeze-dried bloodworms, and things like that. So it's fun because a lot of our species, we treat 190 different species here, and a lot of them share the same habitats and diets or similar diets. So Percy would actually go ahead and eat those freeze-dried krill and worms and things like that as well. So if folks are able to donate those items on our wish list, that's super helpful. And it goes along to helping not just Percy, but also our patients, like our ducklings and our wooded mergansers and things like that. I don't know if you can sort of see that beautiful, spotted shell. Boop, out comes his head. Hello, Percy. You're so cute. What do you think? Are you done? You're not going to eat your greens? That is okay, my dear, my dear. All right. So what I'm going to do, let me flip this around, because Percy says, I don't want to eat my greens. You want to say hi to Kesh? Say hi, Kesh. So Mr. Percy, I'll put him in his tank so that you guys can see him. He walks around like a little astronaut, which is pretty cool in my opinion. So let me see if I can get him in, and then I'll flip this around. I know you're a sucker for polka dots, Kish. So here's Percy. Bloop. Into his tank he goes. And you'll see him just sort of wandering around, and he really enjoys. We're excited. We're building him a new tank for the new facility, and it's going to have all kinds of, great enrichment and areas for him to go bop around in and get out of the water. This one, he's able to get out of the water and completely dry off. All aquatic turtles need that. And wait, now you want to come out? I just put you back in. But he's funny. He'll sit here, and all of a sudden, if you're sitting at your desk, you'll notice that you feel like someone's watching you, and it's usually Mr. Percy back here, right? What are you going to do? You going to go cook around? All right. So I'm going to let Percy relax and finish out his time in his tank. Oh, he's escaping again. But we will be back again in just a little bit, probably less than an hour. We're going to go to the new facility. We're going to welcome Anne from Maine Beer Company because we are able to socially distance over there. And we'll be showing the progression on the tree. We'll be showing where Percy's tank will be at the new facility. We'll be showing where our, our vernal pool will be. It's just spectacular. So be sure to tune in a little bit. Shannon, I think he's the bee's knees too. I totally agree. So again, thank you all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. And if you are able to donate, there's a donate button on the bottom. And again, super helpful no matter what the donation is. And we hope to see you in just a little bit to learn more about the new facility. All right. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful Friday.